Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Discuss. I know on Monday I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to be able to make a video today, but I have kind of found the time. So today I am excited to talk to you guys about M1 Finance, specifically on how to use the different features on the platform, as well as some of my own personal pros and cons about using them. For anyone who follows the channel pretty regularly, you know they are my primary brokerage that I use for just about all of my investing. So I do have a long rapport with them. I'm pretty familiar with all of their features, so I'm excited to share with you some of my thoughts, as well as kind of introduce some of you who may not be familiar with them on how to use their features. So guys, with that being said, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest content. As well as, if you haven't yet seen, I did put out a video on Monday about Dogecoin, as well as my regular M1 Finance portfolio update. So go ahead and check that out. And then on the other side of it, guys, I am just doing this strictly on my own. I am not affiliated with M1 Finance in any way other than just as a client. So I'm just strictly doing this for your guys' entertainment. I'm not pushing you guys to use their platform for any particular reason. So I just know that there's a lot of interest in M1 these days, so I thought it'd be nice to kind of, for those people who are not as familiar with them, just kind of introduce them, and if they are interested, feel free to sign up on M1 using my link down in the description. When you do so, M1 will actually give you $30 just for joining their platform and creating an account and making your first $100 deposit into an individual account. Of course, I will also get a $30 referral bonus, so check that out for more details. And lastly, before we get into today's discussion, I am not exactly sure if I will be making a video next week. I will have a very, very busy college schedule as we kind of head into finals, so I can't make any promises there, but I will do my best to for sure let you guys know. But anyway, let's discuss M1 Finance. So guys, if you have watched my videos before, you'll right away notice this is a very familiar screen. So this is the home screen of my long-term portfolio on M1 Finance. So just to break down a few things of what you're seeing here right away, of course, this amount is the value of my portfolio. Here is the starting value as of the day that you actually created the account on M1. Here, net cash flow is how much money you've invested into that portfolio in the time span that you have your graph set to. So I have mine on the all-time graph. So all-time, I've invested this much money since I've been on M1 Finance. Here is your all-time gain. Of course, this number is a little bit different than what you'd see on like Robinhood, because this counts like your all-time gains, not just your unrealized gains. So this is your unrealized plus realized plus your dividends. So as you can see here, of course, here's the market gain. So that's the increase in share price of all my stocks. And then on top of that is also the dividends, which forms this number here. Now, if you're looking for the number that you would traditionally see on, say, Robinhood again, that would be here. This is the unrealized gains within your portfolio. So this is money that has not yet been realized. So when unrealized becomes realized, that is, of course, a taxable event where you'd have to pay capital gains on whatever amount you made. So that's a little bit different breakdown than some of the other brokerages do it, but I kind of like that because it still shows what you've made all time, including gains that you have indeed realized. So of course, yeah, you can break it down by quarter and by month and by week and by day. So today is a down day, but we did earn $6 in dividends from a company that had their ex-dividend date pass. If we scroll down here, you can see the famous pie system that M1 is kind of known for. So this is the long-term portfolio pie that I myself created. It is broken down into slices by sector. Again, I created all of these, so anything from consumer discretionary to financials to healthcare. So these are really actually pies within a pie. So I created these as individual pies and then added them as slices of this total pie, which I guess sounds a little complicated, but I will show you how to create these pies here in a little bit. Another thing you may notice is this upcoming trade window. So now for most people who don't have M1 Plus, you would just have this morning trade window. That would be the only one that's available to you. But if you are a paid M1 Plus member, you do have access to the afternoon trade window, such as myself. I have access to this. That is both a pro and a con of M1, which again I'll cover a little bit later. Another thing that I need to cover is, of course, within your pie you have different allocations for each of these slices, and luckily for M1 you can see, you know, your actual versus your target. So for the example, my consumer discretionary, it's actually at 19.2%, but my target allocation is actually 16%. So I'm overweight in this slice, which you can see that this is a little bit above, you know, this slice showing that it's overweight, or in the case if you can see that white mark there, that might be pretty faint on the video, but there is a white line here that shows that it's underweight. So that's some of the basic features. Of course, you have your cash balance. This is uninvested money that's, you know, within your account. So now I actually am going to get into showing you guys how to actually make a pie. So guys, to start making your pie, you're going to want to go to research and then on to my pies, and you'll see the button here, create a new pie. You want to go into that, and from there you can select the individual stocks or ETFs that you'd like to add to your pie. So in this particular instance, I'm going to start with a ETF that'll make up the majority of this pie that I will create for you guys. I'm just going to select the Vanguard Total Stock Market. So you select it there, and when you do, it'll add it to your basket. So I'm going to flip back to stocks here, and I'm just going to pick a few individual stocks that I like, such as Microsoft. We'll select Visa, Home Depot, and Pepsi. That sounds good. So if these are the holdings that we want within our pie, we're ready to go. We can select add. When you hit add, it will create your pie, you know, say new pie, and then whatever date you created on. So you can scroll down here and it'll show your holdings and what your target. So it'll automatically balance your pie. Of course, you can change this if you would like. So you can go here into the allocations and automatically change it to whatever you desire it to be. For example, if you want your VTI or something to weigh a little bit more than something else, you are free to do so. So, did something wrong there. So VTI, if we wanted to go up to 50%, we'll say, and then we can reduce, you know, Visa down to 10%, because of course we have to have this equal 100. You can't make it work if it's over 100%. So we'll reduce Pepsi. We'll reduce that to 15%. Microsoft to 15%, and Home Depot to 10%. Sure, that sounds good. So if that's exactly how we want it, you know, VTI to 50, Pepsi 15, Microsoft 15, Home Depot 10, and Visa 10, you are free to do so. If you'd like to change the name of your pie, you're able to name it whatever you'd like. Well, for this case, we'll name it tutorial. So we can save it. So once it saves here, kind of a neat thing that I actually like about the pie creating process, it can actually show you how your pie has performed over the last several years. So for example, if I had created this pie 5 years ago at these allocations, which I have, I would be up 183%. So from this point, if I invested $100, which is what it says here, I would be up to about $280 today. So that's kind of exciting to see because it shows you the past performance about how your Pi is doing, again, which I like. So that's kind of a introductory level on how to create a Pi. Another nice thing it shows is, of course, the dividend yield, your expense ratio, and how many holdings. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to put a Pi within a Pi. Again, if you would like to create a new one, you can create new Pi. So from this screen, which we've just on, you can go over to My Pies, and just like we've done before, you can select which ones you'd like to be in the basket. So some of these are different pies I've made for other videos. So say we want to incorporate them into one larger Pi, we can do so. So if we want to use our tutorial Pi, our $25 a month Pi from a video or two ago, plus our Dogs of the Dow, we can do so. We want these 3 pies within a larger Pi, we can do that. We press add again, lets it create. Again, new Pi on that date. It automatically sets them to about equal weighting. This one's at 34% because obviously 100 divided by 33 is not going to be an even whole number. So again, if we want to edit this Pi, we are able to do so. Well, I don't know why it subtracts it, but that's fine. If we want that to be at 40%, this to 27%, and this one to 30%, well, we'll do it like this. Yeah. So if we want our tutorial Pi to be 40%, $25 a month, the 30%, and the Dogs of the Dow to 30%, that is well within our right. So again, we can name it whatever we want. So we'll just name this one Tutorial Large Pi. Just whatever you want to name it, that is completely okay. So we save it. Again, we can see our past performance over the last 5 years, which this one's actually since March 19th, 2019. So that says to me that one of the slices in one of these pies IPO'd on that date. So it's not able to go all the way back, you know, a full 5 years, but you are able to see since whatever company's in one of these pies IPO'd. So our dividend yield, about 2%, have 18 holdings within this large Pi. If you don't have enough time in your hands to do research, you can always use M1's created pies. They have different categories of things that you guys can look at, and different suggested pies that you can invest in. Pretty easy. Here's general investing. These are depending on your tolerance level and how long you plan on investing. If you're a moderate investor, they have a Pi for you. These are comprised of ETFs. So you're able to check these out and invest these if you'd like. So just one more thing I'd like to cover before I get into my pros and cons about using M1 Finance is actually how to invest your money into your pies that you've created. So for example, with my long-term portfolio, say I want to invest this $11 across the entire portfolio, I am able to do so just strictly by hitting buy or sell. So you want to be careful what you're doing here. Make sure you are on the buy tab, and right now I have $11 available for order. So if I hit to spend all $11, this will automatically go towards whatever slices or whatever companies I'm underweight in. So like I said earlier, if I'm overweight in consumer discretionary, it's not going to put any money towards that to bump that up. It's going to be whatever slice that I'm most underweight in. So it looks like right now I'm most underweight in looks like either communications or consumer staples. So it will automatically invest that into whatever I'm most underweight in. So I'll just go ahead and run this buy order through real quick just to give you an idea. So if I press continue, so it'll buy $11 worth in my long-term portfolio at 8:30 tomorrow. I will confirm buy, then order submitted. So I should see a pending buy. It says I have one buy, so it is buying Verizon. So apparently I'm most underweight in communications, and then specifically within communications, I'm most underweight in Verizon. So yeah, AT&T's more, so there you go. So here within the slice, it'll actually show you value drift. This is how underweighted your pie slice is in terms of money amount. And then you can further break this down within this slice as well between AT&T and Verizon. So if you want to know how underweight Verizon is compared to AT&T, you can see that right here. In this case, it's underweight by about $25. So pretty neat there. So I will go ahead and cancel that because that's not really what I plan to do right now. But say instead of investing in the entire long-term portfolio, if there is something you want to invest in specifically, so say, I look at my week-long graph here and I want to see what I'm down in. So it looks like I'm kind of down in my financials, and there's something in there I want to buy. So right now I'm kind of be hit in JP Morgan, and I'm underweight. So if I want to buy just JP Morgan, of course I click on my financial slice and I go in, click JP Morgan specifically. It'll show the company right here. That's what you're buying. And then you hit buy or sell. So to buy whatever amount of JP Morgan I want, I gotta press $11. So boom. If I want to buy $11 JP Morgan tomorrow at 8:30, I just have to press confirm buy. However, if I go back here and say, something's doing really well and I want to sell something, communications are doing well. AT&T is having a really good week, and say I'm starting to get overweighted in AT&T and I decide, it's time to take some of those gains. I can go to sell, and I can sell as much as $1,293.22 worth. So if I want to sell $1,000 worth, I am able to do that, and it would go through tomorrow. So I'm confirming a sell, and I would just hit this if I wanted to go through at 8:30 tomorrow. So again, feel free to rewind this as many times as you like. I know it can be a little overwhelming at first, but really once you get the hang of it, it's very, very easy. So I just wanted to cover a few of these things as a tutorial. So now I'll share some of my personal pros and cons. So to kind of wrap up this video, I did want to touch on some of my pros and cons about being a user of M1 Finance. Kind of just have some thoughts of my own that I wanted to share. So I'll kind of start with the pros. And then the first one, of course, that comes to mind is if you are a long-term focused investor, I can't hardly think of a better platform or setup to really help you reach those goals. If you're hoping to just kind of set your money aside and let it grow steadily over time and not really do too much buying or selling, I really think M1 is a great place to do that. Some people, especially right now, the craze is, of course, trading and swing trading and, looking at the, AMCs and the GameStops of the world and all these supercharged growth stocks, which is great. But if you're not really into that kind of thing, I think M1 is a great place to put your money, especially if you are a long-term investor. So that's kind of the biggest pro that I have for them. The other pro that I kind of think about is they are relatively actually simple to use once you get used to it. I know this tutorial will probably kind of be a little bit complicated to follow, at least, maybe the first time you watch, but really once you get the, hang of it, it's very simple, very friendly interface. I think it looks very neat, which I like. So it's another major pro of mine. And then the last, of course, is no fees or charges for any buys or sells. The only, only fees they have, of course, is if you subscribe to their premium service, which is M1 Plus. M1 Plus currently costs $125 a year if you do opt to pay for it. But actually, for a lot of their new clients, they do offer a free 1-year trial of M1 Plus. That's actually how I received it. So I've actually never paid for it. So that is a really nice opportunity because you really do get a lot with M1 Plus. I didn't cover in this video, but you do get lower interest rates for M1 Borrow if you need to take out a loan, as well as more benefits with smart transfers, as well as custodial accounts if you're opening an account for a minor like a child or someone that you give care to. So there are a lot of neat perks with that as well. Of course, you can check out that for more details. So to kind of touch on some of the cons, the first one that most people gripe about is the one trading window for non-M1 Plus members, which is just in the morning. But I don't see that as such a bad thing because that just goes, hand in hand with their long-term focus on long-term investing. So, it kind of takes some of the rash decision making that can come with, day-to-day fluctuations in stock prices and, major news. So if you have it in your mind that you want to buy, X amount of dollars in, ABC stock, you're free to do so without, worrying about too much about just the pennies and dollars that may fluctuate day to day. You put that money in, it goes through at the same time every day, and you don't really worry about it. Kind of takes you out of the equation to some degree. I know a lot of people don't like that because, again, like I said, day trading and swing trading is such a big deal where you need, second to second access to your money to be able to buy and sell as you please. If you are looking for that kind of thing, M1 Finance is not the platform for you. So that is, I guess, a con to a point. The other thing that I personally don't love is there are very, very limited research opportunities. With M1, there's not really that deep analytical side of M1, but that's not too surprising. Most brokerages don't provide, a ton of in-depth research unless you pay a premium for it from other, services. But you do get a fairly limited amount of research capabilities with M1. That is one thing I will say I, kind of lean on other sites and other platforms for more research opportunities. And then the last con that I want to touch on is there is no set DRIP feature, which is dividend reinvestment program. If you've never heard of DRIP as a feature, you can't do it just for individual stocks. There's like on Robinhood, if you get a dividend in Apple, you can set every Apple dividend you get to reinvest itself automatically. M1 has that to a point, but you have to hit a certain amount of money in your cash balance, and then it automatically disperses that cash throughout your entire portfolio. So if you do get that dividend from Apple, it won't go to just Apple. It has to build itself out, over time, and it'll disperse itself throughout the entire portfolio rather than just going into the stock that paid the dividend originally. That's not a huge deal to me. I mean, it would be nice, I guess, to have a little bit more automation with that, but I mean, you can easily go in to your account anytime and just invest that cash balance as you please. But still, that is at least a little bit of manual work that you have to do in an otherwise automated system. But again, those are pretty much the pros and cons I have off the top of my head. I'm sure if you guys have some thoughts, go ahead and share those down in the comments below. So guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, go ahead and drop a like, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so, as well as go ahead and drop a comment if you are a user of M1 Finance. Feel free to share your thoughts. I love hearing what you guys have to say about different things. So with that being said, I hope to see you in the next video.